Hello, everybody.
Happy Sunday, everyone.
Sunday fun day.
Woo! Best day of the week.
It is. It's been very relaxing, actually.
Yeah, that has after a busy week.
Yeah, it's been busy. We went away for a week and came back, and it's still hot. It was supposed to cool down when we left. But
I know it felt cooler while we were gone. Luckily, we got to enjoy some good weather for the week.
Yeah.
Comparatively, now we come back and it's still awful August weather.
Yeah, and just like Mother Nature can't decide what she wants to do, they were projecting rain the whole time we were gone. I think we got rain one time during the day that really affected any plans. And really, they didn't affect any plans. So
it was a pretty good rain.
Yeah, it was a good rain, but it came late enough in the day. It wasn't a big deal. But yeah, they had some winds too, and I brought the awning in, and the winds we on the way out from Redstone Arsenal where we spent the week last week.
Hi, John.
2 trees in the golf course were tipped over.
Trees.
Trees, tree
stranger.
Yeah, those trees.
Oh, I laugh every time I hear that.
Oh my goodness.
You know what? You just got to laugh in life because there's so much odd things going on all the time, so much weirdness, and yeah, you just got to laugh because a lot of it I can't even take seriously.
Yeah.
And it's fun to laugh anyway.
Yeah, you got to laugh,
Well, hopefully everybody's had a good week. Thank you for joining us today. Thank all our moderators that I see on here.
Babs is asking us if we've received something.
I did not go to the P.O. box yet. I'm going to go tomorrow. It better be there for sure. And I will definitely let you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wanted to get there today, but we had a little catastrophe with the printer blowing up and having to run out to get a new printer so I could print out some eBay labels. That was kind of course, I think we had power outages when we were gone, and it must have fried the printer.
Yeah.
So as soon as I turned it on today, it started blinking all kinds of craziness, and we tried troubleshooting it and nothing was going on. But, I've had that printer probably 8 to 10 years roughly.
Yeah.
So I got my money's worth out of it. I just hate that it had ink in it still.
And we mostly
the precious commodity.
These days, we don't print off too much stuff, mostly just shipping labels. So didn't you reach out to Deanna or George to find out what they were using?
Yeah. So I got the one they use because I know they are printing out a ton of labels. So I'm going to trust that they have tested the one they're using well. So I did get the same one that they have. So that way I know it's worth the money, because I hate there's so many brands, off label brands now. You don't know which one's good, and you don't want to just throw your money in the trash.
And you can't really rely on the reviews, because I look at the reviews and I'm like, man, those people left of center and right of center, and they have opposite experiences. So which one do you go with?
Yeah, reviews are hard to go with sometimes.
Yeah.
Hello, James from Anchorage.
Hey, Anchorage in the house.
But yeah, it's just been a little bit of a crazy week, and today just was still the same. So hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit more calm.
So we do have some things to talk about. We're going to touch on
Do you?
We're going to touch on a variety.
Brett has something to talk about. Hey, I bet y'all are surprised.
I've always got my notes. So we got a lot of different subjects, but mostly we wanted to touch on our trip to Redstone Arsenal. It's only about an hour and a half drive. That's towing with the camper. That's going very slow. It's probably an hour drive in a car. But it's a nice drive. There's no direct interstate to get you there from here. So you take a lot of back roads and curvy roads, and you're going through a lot of cornfields, and and you come out the other side, and it's like, Huntsville.
I know, I really want some corn. Every time we go driving around, I just want a nice hot corn on the cob, slathered in butter, some salt.
Yeah.
Okay, go on. So sorry.
So Redstone has some nice campgrounds. I'm going to give you the good, bad, and the ugly on both sides. The good, the pros, the cons. The good thing is they have them in abundance. They have probably 100 lots at one campground, and then they have another campground that's about 6 miles on the backside of the base, which is away from everything, over on the Tennessee River, if you're familiar with the area. So it's not near the main downtown part of Redstone, which has swimming pools, the gym, the commissary, the BX, all those things that we like to visit. But there's maybe 20 lots over there, and they're full. But they're only $12. But they have a remote dump station, and it's actually pretty far from the campground. We did drive out there just to take a site survey and see if that's something we wanted to do next trip.
Now that one was like some old school real deal camping, because there's a ton of trees, lots of shade, and lots of mosquitoes.
Lots of bugs. And we did stop and talk to a guy, and I said, so what do you think of this campground versus the other one? He goes, oh, I like the other one a whole lot better, but this one is in my budget. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. He goes, there's a lot of bugs. And he had his hands full, and he was trying to swat the bugs. And I'm like, I had the window down talking to him. It's like, there are quite a few bugs here, like bugs we don't normally see.
I mean, if you like to be out in the remote area, it definitely was remote. So I know a lot of people were cycling back there and exercising and jogging and stuff like that, because you really don't have to worry about traffic. I like where you can be in an area like that and not really be in fear of your safety, because there's lots of areas like that, especially as a single woman. You don't want to hang out in. You like the peace and quiet of the area, but you've watched way too many serial killer movies to be there by yourself.
So it was $12 for that. You had water and electric on site, and then you had a pretty remote dump station, about maybe a half a mile, and I'm guessing about a half mile away, which is pretty far if you're toting one of those little poop dollies, or you may have to take your whole trailer because it's pretty far.
Unless you bring a blue bucket, and then you'll be all right.
Yeah, you could do it that way, right? I guess. Yeah. So just because of that and the bugs, I was like, maybe a short visit, maybe a week is pushing it. But we kind of liked where we were because we were really close to the things that we wanted to go to. We wanted to go to the gym regularly, and it was within a mile. So we did go there 3 days out of the week. And then their trails were phenomenal. Some were phenomenal. Some were not so phenomenal.
They had some wonderful paved bike trails where you could jog or bike, and they went all through the base. I wish every place had them. We were going biking every day. That was so much fun. It made me think about what our plan originally was when we sold the campground to just live in the RV.
Yeah.
And how it would be if we were base hopping or just traveling around just in the RV, and you could ride your bike all the time, especially on the base. It's like its own little contained city, and how fit you could be. So I had a lot of fun thinking about that.
Yeah. So the trails were really nice. Like I said, they were wide enough for 2 bikes to pass and not have to and give some allowances. And there was a line down the middle, so it kind of had a right side and a left side. And there were signs that said bikes were allowed up to 10 miles an hour. Now, we were in the e-bikes, and we normally would stay in second gear and pedal, and that puts you at about 13 miles an hour. That's a little fast, but gear 1 only has you going 7 or 8 miles an hour.
Yeah, which I tried to stay in gear 1 myself quite a bit because I wanted to get some workout in. But as Brett was in number 2, I had to keep switching back and forth because I was falling way behind. So I did my best to get some exercise in as well as try to keep up with you.
And part of that trail, the campground was on one side of the trail, and you could go right or left. Most of it goes left, and you could go for 4 miles, and it would take you to another gym all the way in the back of the base.
Brett thought this base was pretty small originally until we started exploring it.
Yeah,
the last time we went there, we only really went into this one little section. We didn't explore the base at all. And it's a lot bigger than he thought.
Yeah.
There was even cows.
We were really close to the shopette, which also doubles as the liquor store. Now, we did check prices there in the liquor store. It wasn't a true Class 6 like the military's used to, where it's a separate store and has better pricing. Since they moved them into the AFES facility, the prices aren't as good. You don't get as many options. And Alabama has a beverage control agency too, so there's an extra fee on top of your liquor with ABC. In Virginia, they had that too. Is ABC? It's Alcoholic Beverage Control. I don't know what Alabama calls it, but it's a very similar thing. And then the lady down at Fort Rucker explained that to us. And they had a Class 6 store there, and
the cows were on the base.
Yeah, they're cows on the base.
I've never seen that before, but yeah, there was some cow fields right in the middle.
Yeah, on the base.
They were so cute.
Cool. Yeah, that was cool. But there was also a what do they call it? Disc golf.
Mm-hmm.
They had
a bowling alley.
They had a bowling alley, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. They have a shopette. They had free air. Where else can you find free air nowadays?
Yeah, but they were both broken.
Correct. They both were not working properly.
So it was a tease.
It was a tease of free air. So hopefully I'd like to see those get fixed because, I didn't see any other place to get air unless you went off the base.
Yeah, but talking about stuff getting fixed on a base, there's a lot of stuff that the government wastes its money on that's not as important as the things they should be using their money for. Mm-hmm. And if you go on any base, you can clearly see mismanaged funds.
So the campground really needed to do some more grass cutting. That grass was above our knees in most places. And they said that they cut the grass every, was it 6 weeks?
6 weeks, yes.
That's ridiculous in the summertime. When it rains as much as it does and all the sun, you need to mow at least once a week, I think.
You could get away with
maybe twice,
every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, maybe at the most. But 6 weeks is ridiculous. So the reason they said for that, too, is they have a minimum age, not minimum age, but a minimum, help me out. Wage. That's the word I'm looking for. Of $15 an hour. And so people are choosing not to work. They said they can do better going off the base. Well, yeah, but then you got to deal with more people. I mean, on the base is really nice because it's small and not everybody can get on the base.
Well, I don't think that's the reason. I think people just don't want to work anymore.
Well, yeah, they said that. I'm just kind of adding the other climates to it.
But I would like to get to the root of that is how everyone can afford not to work now that they have that luxury to say, I don't want to work.
Yeah, I don't want to work. Not enough money for my time.
So, is the government making things too easy for a lot of people?
Now, the guy at the bowling center, I actually filled out an ICE comment. That's ICE. And I don't know what the acronym stands for, but it's for letting the higher ups on the base, the staff, general officers, letting them know feedback on any facility on the base. And so I did feedback on the bowling alley because it was a nice facility. I thought they closed too early. They closed like at 8 o'clock or something. And then I thought, too, they didn't have enough specials while we were there. They do have specials, but a lot of them had just ended in July and the kids are back in school. And so they tail everything back. And so I was like, oh, wow. Because it had a cafeteria and it had a sports bar attached to the bowling alley. And they had 4 lanes that were private, like a private party could rent those 4 lanes. And I'm like, that's a neat concept. I've never seen that before. How is that doing? And why is your bowling so expensive? That was the main meat of my comment. It was $5 to bowl. And so we just bowled 1 game. Instead, we were going to bowl several games and maybe eat dinner. We canceled that because the prices were ridiculous. Because I can bowl off base cheaper here than we could there. Now, we were hoping it would be cheaper there, but it wasn't. And I was like, isn't that to serve the soldiers? You're supposed to have better prices on the base because you're serving the soldiers. Well, he says here, you go with that. The base has continuously over the years drawn down the number of soldiers there. They've either realigned, it's during all this realignment they went through a few years ago, something more than that, a lot of years ago. And so Redstone doesn't have the number of soldiers. Now that matters because there's a lot of contractors on the base, just like here at Arnold Air Force Base. It's all contractors. There's very few active duty soldiers. But when you don't have the active duty soldiers, the money goes away because that's what supports the base. More soldiers, more money. Less soldiers, less money. So that means these contractors that have these facilities, MWR runs the bowling alley and the gyms and all that, they now have to be self-supporting, and they have to actually run on a budget, a tight budget, and they must make money. If they don't make money, they close. And there was a dining facility on the base up until 2011. And when the drawdown of the soldiers went away, they closed the facility. Now that facility was like an 11-time Gold Star Award winner for military dining food, how they get rated. I don't know how that works, but I thought that was quite phenomenal. So I was wanting to try their food out, but I didn't get a chance to because that base has not been there in a long time, about 10 years. So, well, not the base. I mean, the dining facility hasn't been there for about 10 years. So there's also another school that he mentioned is closing. There's a hotel on the base, Candlewood, and I believe it's called. And I think it's going to hurt them because right across from that hotel on the base, and their rooms are expensive. What did you look their rooms up to be, like 150 a night?
170 roughly.
Ooh, $170 a night on this little base. And this was a school for senior staff people. I forget the name of the school, but they're not going to have it anymore. So there's some more people that are going to be gone. That's more money out of the area. Now they're stationed, and they'll get TDY travel to go there and go to school, and the Army pays their hotel. And that hotel is inflated because they know most of their money comes from the people that are there TDY. So they get more money for that. It's going to hurt them. And it's just a challenge. It's just, I guess what I'm trying to say without beating it too hard is when you lose the soldiers, you lose the funding. When you lose the funding, everything gets contracted out to private. And here's another problem. The contractors bid on these jobs. Let's say there's a grass mowing job that comes open for the whole base. And a contractor bids on it. And he has 25 workers. Well, when he bids on it, now he's got to get security passes for all his employees. And now many of them may not be able to get on the base. Guess what? They can't work on the base. So that's a stickler too, because one lady was telling us there that it's harder and harder to get on this base. And so it limits the number of contractors that are actually available to bid on these jobs. So, you see, I just wanted to kind of explain the challenge and the bigger picture. I don't have all the little numbers, and they don't mean anything. I just wanted to set kind of the table of what the challenge is on getting a nice base and all these agencies that support the soldiers. You got to first have the soldiers because that's where the funding comes from. You lose them and it goes to contracting. You lose all your support elements too. I think they had a hospital on the base. I know they had a clinic, at least one, maybe two clinics on the base. But if they lose enough soldiers, they could lose a hospital. The only thing that seemed to be really busy there was the golf course. All 6 days that golf course was busy. They do have 2 swimming pools. One is deemed mission essential, so you don't have to pay for it. Now I was surprised the word pay even came up in the conversation. That should be a benefit, an MWR benefit. Not here. They have lap swimming, and that pool is only open till 1 o'clock, and it closed. Midday, it's closed. But it opens at like 5 in the morning. But who wants to swim at 5 in the morning? So the other pool was outdoors, and we wanted to go to it. We went there, and they're charging $7 a person. I'm like, what? So we left. It's not worth it, $7 to pay for maybe 45 minutes to an hour of swimming. So I was a little disgruntled with all that, but that's what happens when you lose soldiers. You lose the funding, and now it all becomes privatized, and it costs more. And now you can do some of these activities off the base cheaper than you can on the base. The gas prices were okay. Again, they don't sell diesel. So that's an obstacle. And the price on the base was okay. It wasn't high. It was normal, but there were better prices off the base. Again, you're not servicing the soldier when you have prices that are not competitive to the outside market. They're just going to go outside. I've also heard on the base too, the housing, because you don't have the number of soldiers anymore. they're releasing the housing now out to retired military. So again, you have to pass a background check in order to live on the base, and then they're paying a high premium in rent for that place they're staying on the base. So, wow, it's just a lot going on. It sure has changed. The map sure has changed what I'm used to. But that's kind of what I wanted to talk about on the base side of how much the demographics has changed in terms of funding and what agencies. But we were overall happy with the campground. There were 2 shower houses. Each one had a male and a female and had 1 shower and 2 toilets, or for the men, 1 toilet, 1 urinal. That's not very many for 100 campsites. That could be 200 or 300 people. But everybody had sewer to their site, so they have to be using their own shower. So I was okay with that. They did have laundromat. I think it was $2 to wash, $2 to dry. We didn't use them, but we went and looked at them. Overall, it's a nice stay and it's a good value because it was $25 a night. You can't beat that price. And we were there really to have gym access and the bike trail access. That's really what we wanted to do while we were there mostly. So we were happy about the facility. It has a few things they could work on, but budgetary restrictions, something has to go. It's a shame that these high paid people can't make the decisions to keep everything running within budget and get everything done and maintained properly. But that's a challenge today. People don't want to work. You can't make them work.
So the conclusion of this story is that military bases are no different than any other place on the planet. Nobody wants to work, and management doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
There you go.
Long story short.
Got a few people in the chat you want to yell at. We want to thank the moderators for hanging out with us. And I think Georgie's in the chat. Say hi to her.
Hi.
And I hadn't really been paying attention to the chat while I was on my soapbox. But
and I wrecked my e-bike.
Yeah, so we went, I'll let you pick up the story. There's some trails that aren't very well marked. In fact, they're not marked at all.
And they're not paved.
And they're considered mountain bike trails. So, but they went up the hill. And so I wanted to go up this hill to be able to get a good view from up there. And everybody's saying it's a great view up the hill. Well, great. Let's see if we can get up there. Well, these are e-bikes. Very touchy throttle. It's very rocky terrain, a lot of roots too, and a lot of washout areas. So in navigating all that, sometimes you end up coming to a stop because the throttle is very touchy, and sometimes it'll just take off too fast, and you misnavigate a turn or an obstacle. Anyway, I'll let you take over from there.
So first of all, this is a trail that I don't even think you should be riding a bike on, that you should just walk this trail.
Yeah, probably.
But Brett wanted to go up it. So we were going up it, and the first time I crashed, there was a big tree sticking out, and I didn't want to pop my tire. And mind you, this little trail was about yay wide, and there's poison ivy everywhere.
Yeah, there's poison.
And I'm highly allergic. So I never wanted to be on this trail. And of course, we're wearing Crocs because there was no plan to go on this trail. So we're in Crocs and shorts. And my foolish self follows Brett up this pathway, crashes one time. He's nowhere in sight. So
I didn't see her.
So I keep going to try to find him. And then he's up there stopped. So I kind of stopped. And those bikes are very heavy. And it's coming back at me. So I ended up crashing really bad. And I have bruises all up and down my legs, as well as poison ivy all over my whole entire body.
She fell backwards. The bike stopped. And then it started sliding back, and she fell over because it was that part where she stopped was pretty steep, and it was in a curve, and there was some rocks there. And so the bike didn't grab the dirt and started sliding, and then she went over. There was nothing I could do to grab her because I was uphill from her, probably 20 feet from her.
I couldn't even get up because the bike was so heavy laying on top of me. And I was like, oh, I know I'm going to have poison ivy.
Yeah, I mean,
and sure enough, I have it so incredibly bad.
yeah. Now, I pulled the bike off of her, and I said, "Look, don't waddle around or put your hands down to push up. Let me pull you up. Let me do all the lifting."
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. So we pulled her straight up when we got on the trail. We went back down. We walked the bikes down to the paved part of the trail. We went straight back to the house. We took a shower and tried to preventive medicine here on this poison ivy. But she caught a lot of poison ivy. So she's kind of miserable right now.
Yeah. And the next day I felt like I'd been in a car accident because I just have these huge bruises from where the bike, I guess, jammed into my leg and in my ankle and all over my arm. And yeah, it's been fun, but that's my own fault for going somewhere I should have known better not to follow.
And we got some calamine lotion, and we were able to doctor it with that. And we had more stuff when we got here. But she probably needs a poison ivy.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to call the doctor tomorrow to try to get some kind of, I forget what they call it. It's like a steroid pack.
Yeah, show her your wrist. That's like, I think the worst one is on her wrist.
Well, you're not going to be able to really see that.
You can't see it. Show it like that.
I don't think so. Could be able to really see.
She's got a lot of stuff.
It's all calamined up.
It's all calamined up, but this is all seeping.
And it's the both of my back of my legs are like, it's horrible.
That's probably the worst spot.
It's pretty horrible.
She's got little patches everywhere.
Brett's, of course, like, shake it off, soldier. You're fine. Nobody wants to hear that after they've just crashed into poison ivy.
That's not
and are covered in bruises.
The way I laid that out.
Yeah.
I told you needed to keep
You're like
moving.
A robot.
You can't stop on a hill.
You're like a
you
robot.
You have to keep moving. But
Anywho,
lesson learned.
Anywho, lesson learned. Don't play follow the leader when your leader is taking you in a bad place.
So the next couple of days we stuck to the paved trails, and the paved trails are a lot of fun.
Oh, they completely are.
Yeah.
Completely are. So yeah. Learned a couple lessons there, and now we're suffering. I'm hoping all this goes away before my Ohio trip.
Another issue real quick that I have in my notes, I would have forgot this. The bowling alley is really close to one of the gates, and I don't know which number it would be. I don't know all the gate numbers offhand, but the bowling alley is really close to the gate, like the one that everybody uses to go out. And so at 4:00, you can see everybody hauling out that gate because I think that gate closes early. And then they have other gates for evening hours, but there's only one gate that's 24 hours, and it's the furthest away from anything downtown on the base. You have to go, it's quite a ways. It's about 5 or 6 miles out to the other gate that they want you to go on for 24-hour access or for late night access. It's the only one open is gate 9, and it's out there at the end of 565, which is a highway that almost dead ends right into the base. So that's a little peculiar, but the guy at the bowling center said the gate hours too are affecting their business because nobody wants to drive all the way around when their house is like right there and they have to drive all the way around to get there. So they try to get right out the gate before they close. Well, that's early, and so he loses revenue because they would have bowled later had the gate been open later. But he had said that he brings it up at every meeting, every staff meeting for the base. The garrison commander is well aware of it, and they keep talking about the man hours. They don't have the man hours. And so that's where it comes back to the budget thing again. So the whole thing costs them money to staff it, but you got to spend a little money to keep a gate open in order to make money at the bowling center. So I don't know what you do. I don't have the answers to that. So that was interesting thing that all that is affecting everything there.
But I did manage to drag him off the base to go to an estate sale or 2.
Or 3 or 4. I think we went to 5 actually.
Yes. And it was like on our last day, and usually about day 6, Brett is over being where we're at and wants to go home. So here I am dragging him to estate sales. So he was really over it that day. But yay, got to go to a few. Yeah, and tomorrow's video is going to be when we went to the Redstone Arsenal thrift store, because they did have a thrift store on base that was open a couple days, which you never know. Some of them don't have thrift stores, some do. And I always like to go to those ones because there's always a good variety of items, I think.
Yeah.
Some prices are good, some are too high, just like everywhere else.
Just like everywhere else.
Unfortunately.
But everything was really close to us. It probably, within a mile, you could go to the bowling center, you could go to the gym, you could be on the trails, you could go to the thrift store, you could go to the PX, the commissary, you could go to the shopette, the pool. All of it was within a mile of where we were. And so we used the e-bikes to go everywhere. The only time we used the Jeep was to go off the base to those estate sales. That was it. Other than that, we biked everywhere we went. We probably put 100 miles on those bikes while we were there, because we did bike a lot, and I think we biked every day.
Yeah, I love that. It was so much fun. I really would love to live in a kind of atmosphere where you don't even need a car and you could just bike everywhere. That would be fun to experience. One day, it's on my bucket list.
It looks like somebody got struck in the chat, but I didn't see what was said. If one
Don't
of the
worry, I struck them. So
oh, you struck them.
We're all good.
Then you already know that. Never mind. I was going to say, whatever moderator struck them, let us know in an email what happened. But you already know, so don't worry about it. Thrift store. What we got coming up Tuesday?
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Oh. I'm like, wow, I got a doctor's appointment.
What else you got?
Otter Creek might have a meeting.
Yeah,
maybe.
Otter Creek's got some going through the mess again.
Oh my goodness. It just keeps getting deeper and deeper there. Or muckier and muckier. It's a hot mess. So we're going to do a pre-agenda meeting video.
Yeah, for Tuesday. That'll be an extra meeting.
Extra video.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
We'll see if they go through with the meeting.
Yeah. You think they will?
I don't know. It's hard to tell these days. I mean, they should be picking some new board members at this meeting, right? Because they're down a few. I don't know. I don't know their processes for doing anything anymore.
And they had like the third.
They seem to be making them up as they go along. So I'm not really certain.
Yeah.
And do they have a clerk? Do they not have a clerk? I don't know.
We can give you a little sneak peek into probably what we'll talk more in depth about on Tuesday. But we have heard it through several sources close to the source that Zim has been in contact with several attorneys. So maybe he's looking to get another attorney, one that will do his bidding for evilness, because Megan's not going to go along with what he's trying to do because it's illegal. So he's trying to find an attorney that will enforce the idea of no more video recording in the town hall. That's, I believe, against the First Amendment right, freedom of press and speech, but Zim.
The only place that you can't record is if you are standing in the clerk's office because of sensitive information or financial information, but standing outside of the clerk's office, and that was the whole reason they put in that window way back when, between that and not wanting to be in there by yourself and have an aggressive person come in there. That way it keeps some distance from you for safety, but also so that people couldn't record if there was sensitive information left out on the desk. So there should be no reason that you can't go in there and record, especially during a meeting. That is absolutely a public space. It's a public meeting. It's in the title.
So people are asking in the chat, who picks the attorney?
The board.
The board does. The board has to vote on
the mayor doesn't have the right to pick and choose or fire anybody. The mayor can suspend somebody, and then at the next meeting, the board would go over why there was a suspension put in place and vote on what they want to do about that person going forward. But the board has to vote on all of that. The mayor just can't hire somebody on their own or fire somebody on their own.
This is what we're trying to get people to understand. The mayor here in this town we can speak to doesn't have that much power. They're not supposed to legally. They can't hire and fire. They can't manipulate things like that. Now, do they and could they and get away with it? If you let them, you can. If you let them get away with it, you got to call them out. And that's what the videos are for, is to maintain accountability. Sometimes you may have to hire an attorney.
Now, if the town got sued because of what he's doing, then the town has to pay their lawyer more money to defend that.
To litigate it, yep.
So it would cost the town more money if somebody files a lawsuit against him. He wouldn't be personally looking for a lawyer. He would be using the town's lawyer.
Now,
the town's money to pay for that lawyer.
People are also asking in the chat about Zim's record, that he has a record, and what is that about?
Nobody was suspended. I was just saying that is the only power that the mayor has, as far as, because someone wanted to know, do they have the power to just fire people? No, they can only suspend, and that would only be till the next meeting.
As far as Zim Pageant is his last name. As far as his record, I think that's personal in nature, and we're not going to exploit.
I'm sure everybody has talked about that enough.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of different groups. People look stuff up and post on there, and that would be the place for that. You can look it up on your own. We're not going to talk about it here because it's been talked about so many times that I'm just not even getting into any of that stuff. Can Zim be fired for what he's doing? Well, the only person at this point who could fire Zim for what he's doing is the governor, I believe, Ron DeSantis. And the town's ordinances don't really go into detail about the behaviors for any of the council members. Now, if you went online and you looked up chieflains, you could see where they have very specific ordinances that state different behaviors that somebody could be fired from the board for. Otter Creek doesn't have any of that stuff set in place. Their ordinances are very
broad scope,
vague, old, out of date,
and contradictory too.
And it's almost like, for as long as that town hasn't been incorporated, the fact that their ordinances are so out of date is terrible. What has the board been doing all these years? I have no idea, because they certainly haven't been keeping up with the times and doing the things they should be and writing new ordinances or enforcing them or anything. So why is this town incorporated? I have no idea.
It really shouldn't be incorporated. It can't function as a town and do all the things it's supposed to do. It's supposed to provide fire protection. They have to hire outside to get fire protection. That costs them more money. They have to hire for enforcement, law enforcement. They don't even have any, so the county helps with that. That's not part of an interlocal agreement. That's just, they're in the county, and if well, you know how Levy County works and doesn't work. There's enforcement, but there's not really any enforcement.
Yeah, Otter Creek has no code of conduct in their ordinances at all.
They can do whatever, whenever, however.
Anybody who's read them, anybody can read them. They're all online. If you go to the Otter Creek town website, they do have all their ordinances and resolutions up in no specific order. It's all kind of loosey-goosey, but you can read a little bit just to figure out how out of date it all is. They've never had it codified and put online, which is very expensive to do. You can get grants for that, but
I don't think they've even pursued that.
Right. I don't think, well, now they don't have anybody to pursue that.
Yeah.
because anybody that they've had, they've lost.
These are all the things the clerk really is supposed to be doing.
And I don't even know who the stand-in clerk is. There's been no announcement of that. So we'll see at the next meeting. And I have to say, there is no way I would be sitting in that clerk seat under Zim as the mayor, because he's doing things that are wrong. And if he's doing things that are wrong, that means he's asking you to do things that are wrong. So there is no way I'd be sitting in that seat and making myself liable for anything wrong.
Yeah, it doesn't pay enough.
And from what I've heard, if you stand up to him to do the right thing, there's going to be a problem. So if you're sitting in that seat at this point, that means that you must be okay with going along with the wrong things.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it doesn't sound like a good place to be in. So I'd be a little worried about that, sitting in that seat. So I don't know, just always do the right thing and then you'll be fine, is my advice.
But you got to ask yourself this question. If he's trying to find attorneys, like an attorney worm, somebody that would try to advocate for banning videos in the town hall building, what does that say to what he's trying to do that he doesn't want you to see? I don't have the answer to that, but it's nothing good. It's nothing good. If you just perform your duties as mayor, which is really just to run the meetings, really, and sign checks, and you're one of two that needs to sign checks, or not. You may not even be on the signature for checks. It could be a clerk and a bookkeeper on there, couldn't it? Or does one board member have to be on the check signing?
Usually the mayor and the vice mayor are on there.
Okay. So, but if he's not doing anything wrong, then what do you care if people record you? They can record you doing a great job. They can record you having fruitful meetings and good discussions and getting ordinances passed and signed and codified. And what's wrong with videoing that? That's videoing you doing a good job. That would make sure that you get re-voted back in, right? So what do you got to hide?
And, you know, people are asking who is going to put Zim in check and how can he be stopped? Well, we need some good board members to get on board. So hopefully at the next meeting, some good people get on there, because he can't continue to do whatever he wants. The board members are going to need to stand up to him, and they're going to need to get with the attorney. Megan is not going to do things that are illegal and incorrect. She's a wonderful lawyer for the town and she's done a great job, but she is not Mr. Worm, and she is not going to do things that are incorrect. Yeah. So it needs to be a good mix of board members, and they need to stand up to Zim, and they need to get in touch with the lawyer if he's not listening, because he is not in charge of that town by himself. But if nobody stands up to him and stands up for the town, then you're just letting him do whatever.
Letting him get away with it.
You know, but there is a way to put it all in check.
So, oh hell, Michelle has a good question. Did Zim have a problem with recording when you were there as mayor? Did he ever say anything about it?
Did he ever mention that he did not like it or not want it?
Any of that?
Yes. Yes, he did. And that was near my going out. He had mentioned that he would like to figure out a way that people couldn't come in there to record. And I assumed, which you know what happens when you assume, that he was saying that he wanted to find out a way that if the town was recording the meetings, that would be the only recording. But you can't, legally, you can't tell people they can't record in the meetings. Right. So I didn't know where he was going with that, but I assumed he was talking about maybe the town having their own YouTube channel, and maybe like there was
circuit.
Yeah, like maybe there was a way that if they were recording, that they didn't have to allow others to record. I mean, that's the only way that would make sense to me at all. Mm-hmm. But I don't know why you would block anybody in the first place. So, but I do think the town absolutely needs to be recording and live streaming their own meetings. But why block anybody else? makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong is happening. You've got nothing to hide. Why would you be trying to block anything? But yeah, so I assumed he was talking about it at the angle of where there was all these hostilities going on with the different people in there on different sides, and maybe that trying to squash that. That was the angle I thought he was talking about, not a shady angle where he was trying to block recording for no good reason except to hide whatever you've got going on. So I took it from his comments, and I was on my way out at that time, so I didn't know what he was doing, but I figured, that would be a conversation with Megan, and everything was on board, and he was just talking about doing those things to try to keep the hostilities down, because I know there was a lot of stuff going on with different YouTubers not liking each other, and there being different hostilities between those two. So that's the only thing I could imagine you'd want to squash.
Okay, Heather May has a question, and Gail Combs is kind of talking on the same question. Have we heard definitively that there's any cancellation of the meeting for Tuesday?
I have not heard of any cancellation. I've only heard of there being a meeting.
And have you seen or heard of there any posting of the agenda yet?
Yes, the agenda has been posted for there to be a meeting on Tuesday. And we'll be discussing that agenda on our Tuesday video.
Yes.
Now, if they cancel the meeting at the last minute, I have no control over that. I will know pretty much when you guys know that it's not happening. But I don't foresee that happening because they really, really need to pick some people for the board. And I don't know.
So some comments.
I think it would just make it worse if they try to
some comments here about Zim being stupid or not stupid. We're not going to name call, but let me tell you about Zim. He's not stupid. He can be controlling. He can be opinionated. He can be firm and sometimes a bit of a jerk, but he can also be helpful. He plays to his hand. So he'll do things that he thinks will come back to help himself. So he's self-serving, he's selfish. If he doesn't like you, will he go out of his way? I don't know. These behaviors are kind of new to us. We've seen little yellow flags here and there, but nothing that really alarms. But I mean, recently the flags have turned red, and we're, very concerned. As the residents there should be very concerned, because you don't know what he's going to do. If he's a one-man show and he starts making up ordinances and gets them codified, and he gets a lawyer and a clerk to go along with whatever he says, or some board members to go along with whatever he said, just because they don't want to cause waves, that could be very damaging to the town. I'm sure it's going to be something that benefits him, but it could be very damaging. We don't like what we see from him. That's what we know about Zim. We don't like it. We didn't see him doing this. We didn't expect him to be acting like this. And the way he's treated Travis is almost travesty, because we certainly didn't see him. He doesn't have to entertain Travis, really. All he had to do was answer his questions. He asked how and if he can, and then if he had everything written down and in code like he should have, which he doesn't have, then these answers would be very easy to provide. Travis, here's what you'll need to do. Travis, you'll have to do this. And the landowner has to approve it. He's renting the property. He's renting the property.
Now, I don't know if Ron or Travis have been in touch with Megan at all. I can honestly say if I was either one of them, that would have been my first or my second response to this situation, was to call her and find out if what's going on is legal and if she was aware of what was going on. I'm sure Megan is aware of some of the things that are going on, but I don't know the depth of what she knows is going on. But she'll be at the next meeting. So whatever she doesn't know, she'll find out at that meeting if anybody brings it up to her attention. But, she's not located even in Otter Creek. So unless somebody makes her aware of the different situations, she's not going to know all the different things going on.
Don't expect Zim to call her and say, hey, Megan, I'm trying to ban videos in town hall.
Now, I'm sure
it's not going to happen.
Board members walked and when Belinda and the other clerks have walked, I'm sure Megan is aware of those situations.
Yeah.
But as far as the stuff going on with Travis and Ron, I don't know if she's aware of that because I don't know if they've called her. But he's certainly not going to call her, I'm sure, to say, hey, this is what's going on. So, but yeah, if I was Ron or Travis, I absolutely would have given Megan a call to get this, at least ask her, hey,
have you
heard about this? Is this legal? Because she is the lawyer for the town and she'd be the one to answer the questions. But they are the ones who would need to talk to her, not anybody else. So do not, again, contact her. Do not contact town hall about these things. There's a lot that they have to deal with, and they need to deal with the people in the town who are asking questions. They have to provide any public record requests to anybody who asks that.
Correct.
But if you don't need that information, don't flood them with requests for that information. Now, if certain parties, even if you don't live there, need this information because they wanted to talk about it, fine. Everybody is welcome to the information. I'm just asking that people who don't need it, don't flood them with requests.
No.
And to answer a question of, have I gotten an email back with any of my questions? No, I certainly haven't. So that's another thing is you can probably ask for lots of things, but they're not giving it anyway. So
now the people involved in the permitting process, if you think you're being wronged by Zim, then those people could reach out to Megan, but not third party, not us, not third party.
Yeah.
People directly involved with something that's going on with the town, like a permit application, and you're getting vague answers, and you want to know, is this legal? Is that legal? Remember, she's an attorney. So ask your pinpointed questions in a legal manner. Is this legal? Is that legal? Those should be your questions. Not character assassinating Zim and did you know blah, 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 blah. You got to do it in a very respectful way. She's the attorney. She demands respect and her time is valuable. So if you flood her with 100,000 questions, you're not going to get any answers. But those couple of people that are working on permits, if they feel they've been wronged and they're not getting the answers they should, that is the process. You're supposed to go to the next pole, the next one up the chain. That's how that works. It's called a chain of command. So if the board was there, you would ask them. You're not getting the answers you need.
I know when we had issues with the board when Russell was in charge and we asked at the meetings different questions and we got shut down and meeting adjourned and they closed out the meeting. We absolutely got in touch with the lawyer who was Mr. Worm at the time and didn't get good result, but we still contacted so that you can document all these different steps.
That's the chain of command.
Because eventually, if you're not getting anywhere, your next resolve is going to be to hire a lawyer yourself to sue the town to get what you need done. I mean, unfortunately, that's the way that'll end up happening because, and it's sad if it has to get to that because it doesn't need to get to that. And again, I don't think it's smart for the person in that position to be costing the town money.
Hey, gotta love me. I agree.
So it's just a sad situation. It's a very sad situation because it's all going backwards.
They want you to say hi to Logan. He's 6 and he's watching.
Hi, Logan. Oh, that's so sweet.
That's cute. I
wish I could give you a hug, Logan.
Big old hugs from her.
So sweet. You got to love the little ones.
Yeah.
So cute. They are. They make you remember how everything should be, before everything got so cuckoo luku. So, oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
I used to love to when I was delivering mail, and whenever I was having a bad day, when any little kids were out at the box and they wanted to talk to you about all kinds of things, they always have the funniest things to say. That would always just turn my day around, and I'd leave there and I'd just look up and say, "Thank you, God. I know you sent that little kid out here to change my day."
And Logan's in Canada. Eh?
Oh,
So,
I bet the weather's there
nice
I bet
it's
right
nice
now.
up there now. Woo.
I wouldn't mind being in Canada right now.
I would trade it during the summer.
My goodness. What else you got?
We got the Blue Tape Blues.
The Blue Tape Blues.
Did y'all enjoy that little clip?
I couldn't help myself.
So where was this clip? It was at the commissary at the Arnold Air Force Base. It was a closed entrance. The commissary is open. The entrance was further down. So it was just a closed entrance, and they had something backed against the door, and they just had it taped off with blue tape. Imagine that. So we're like, oh, man, this would be funny. We got to do this.
It was just too funny.
So, yeah, it was just
the timing
of it. Yeah.
And, I know God has a sense of humor, that's for sure. Just the different things. And like I said, when he puts different things around for you to laugh, because again, in this crazy world, you have to laugh. So you got to find stuff. And I just can't believe the whole ridiculousness of the whole blue tape thing in the first place. So
yeah, it's
no.
The whole why dodge? Why dodging?
I don't get
service?
that at all.
You're going to be brought to before the judge anyway.
I mean, here you have all these people saying they're in the right, they've done nothing wrong. So wouldn't you want to get served?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want to be able to tell your story?
Yeah.
If you're so in the right, then you would be like, okay, I'll go pick up the papers myself. Please serve me. Like, let's get this going.
Yeah, when we got served, everybody, we were kind of expecting it, but not really. And of course, we'd rather not get served, but we're not going to change our plans or our pattern of what we do to not get. We certainly could have. We could have taken the RV and just gone on a year-long trip.
For what? Don't you want the chance to squash it and make it known what the right stuff is?
So we don't have a driveway that comes up to the cabin. You have to park next door at the garage and walk over the grass to the house. And so I saw her coming. It was someone we didn't know, and I just figured, maybe. I opened the door, and she goes, "Are you so and so?" And I said, "Yes." And she says, "I hate to do this to you, but I'm a process server, and I'm here to have you served." I said, "Oh, okay." She goes, "Is Therese Granger in the house?" And I said, "She is. I'll take it." So she didn't really get served, technically. So do you want to play that game? No, we got served. We're fine. We're fine with it. Now we have a chance to go on record to tell our side of the story. That's what's good about being served. So why are you dodgy Robbie? Why are all the others trying to not get served? Because your side of the story doesn't hold any water. That's how you know. You're going to lose. You're just prolonging it. That's all, to no avail. So enjoy your life, peeping over your shoulder and worrying about when you're going to get served and what you're going to say when you do get served, because you're going to get served, and then you're going to have to answer for the things that you've done. Maybe you just shouldn't do them. I'm sure you were warned, cease and desist, or you were warned, you better stop or else, and then you decided not to stop. And many of you, even after 1,000 times being told not to stop, are continuing to do. You're doubling down on stupid. I don't understand it. It's just going to be more liability. Everything you work for could be subject to garnishment. Is that really what you want? Is it worth it? I don't understand where it's worth it.
I don't get any of it.
So anyway, that's not my soapbox to get on.
There's so many better activities to do with your life than any of that. So I don't get any of it.
No.
And, I have to just find ways to keep laughing. I mean, there's so much stuff going on in this world that stinks, to be honest. Why create more?
Yeah.
Like, makes no sense.
I saw something beautiful today that used to be a previous pet peeve of mine, and that's the shopping cart returns to the carousel that people don't like to put back. We saw two ladies today because we had to run to Walmart, and we went to the one in Winchester today because they had the printer we're looking for. And two ladies were wrestling with a baby or a small child that was kind of acting up. She was getting irritable. She was probably hot. It was outside. They're trying to load the car. And they did everything right. I thought they did well. They got the baby. They got the car started early. Let me get the car started so I can get it cooled down. That's thoughtful. They took care of the baby. In having to deal with all the groceries and hotness and get the child situated in the car, they still put the buggy back. These were two young girls, so I give them kudos for doing the right thing when it wasn't easy to do. It would have been easy to just leave the cart there, get in the car, be all mad, and drive off. Like, that's what I expect most people to do. But this was two young ladies, probably in their 20s, early 20s, and dealing with the baby and groceries. And it was hot outside, out on the pavement. It was probably 100 degrees. Felt like 100 degrees. And they did great. She put the cart back, and I was like, wow, I like to see that. I like to see people managing their family in an efficient manner and still doing the right thing when it comes to putting carts back and being kind to other people and those things. And I just wanted to give kudos. Don't know that they're watching. I doubt it, but I just wanted to say I like to see that. It did touch my heart to see that, and it was just a fleeting moment in time. I don't even think I mentioned it to her, but it made my notes and I wrote it down.
I mean, it's sad that a lot of the stress and anxiety and negativity is a lot of stuff people just create themselves, or their bad response to different situations. But you don't have to be like that. The world doesn't have to be the way it is.
All right.
But the only person you can control is you. So that smile that you're wearing, you can spread to the next person, but if you're not wearing it, it's not going to spread. So, you got to smile more, quit being so grumpy, and just look at what you can enjoy around you.
Mm-hmm.
And if a bunch of people are being grumpy and nasty, figure out a way to laugh about it and don't take on that same negative attitude that they have.
Yeah.
So life's too short. I just want to have fun.
Deb is saying that Aldi's cart return system is great. Yeah, it is. It works too. You can see it.
It absolutely works.
You don't see carts at Aldi straight across the parking lot or in the road next door or whatever.
Even when people want to gift other people the cart, They still usually put it up by the door and then just don't chain it back.
Right.
So
they gift it.
It's still not just thrown all over the parking lot. Or they even make human contact and they push it over to you and say, hey, you want a cart?
I've taken carts from people and offered the quarter, and they're like, oh, keep it.
Yeah, I always say, I'll buy that cart from you for a quarter.
And anytime we park in a parking lot and we're walking up to the store, if we walk by carts, we'll grab them and take them with us while we're going up there. Sometimes we'll have 3 or 4 carts. We're looking like we're working for Walmart or something, pushing carts up to, we're going that way anyway. Why not clean up the parking lot?
And that's another thing to do. If people picked up some trash on their way somewhere, if you went out of your way to do a little bit extra and cared a little bit more, people would see that and it would be contagious. Not everybody's going to do it. Because, you could argue that someone shouldn't have thrown that trash down on the ground in the first place.
That's right.
But you can control you. So if you went and did a little bit more and that person did a little bit more, all of a sudden the world starts looking just a little bit better. Just something to think about.
Any of you guys in the chat, in case we missed it, if you have a question that we missed, go ahead and send it up there. We'll take care of it. If you have any new questions, hit us up and we'll do the best we can to answer them. That's what these lives are for. We like interacting with you guys. We like we don't mind answering questions. If we have the answers, we'll let you know. If we don't, we'll tell you that too. While you're thinking on that, some projects that we have coming up. The only one I can think of right off the rip is that I need to change the oil in the Jeep. It's come time, it's due. So I'll probably do a little video on that, because if you have a Jeep, do you know how to reset the odometer for your oil change? Because the computer tells you when to change your oil and you have to reset it. So I'll be going over that in the video. I have a 2014 Jeep, so it may not apply to all model Jeeps, but I'll be showing you in that video how to reset it when you change the oil. And the oil filter is up on top of the engine, so that's different than up underneath. So I'll be showing you how to do that. It's very simple in the Jeep, so it's very easy. If you don't change your own oil after you see this video, maybe you'll try it. It's really easy. So that's the only thing I'm really I got working on. I do have some longer, bigger term projects. We do need to get the flooring replaced in the pontoon boat. We need to order that up. We haven't done that yet. I still need to cut an access door to the hot water heater before we leave for the winter, because I plan on draining that down. No water, so we don't have to run any heat here. We'll turn all the power off here to the house. But those projects will come when it cools down a little bit. So.
All right, let's see what questions we have for
Oh,
you.
you got questions?
What's your next adventure?
We haven't even planned the next one yet. We have not. We've been looking at Nashville.
My next adventure is Ohio. I'll be going to Ohio for a week it's less than 2 weeks away now.
Yeah.
So that'll be coming up real soon. I don't know. In September, I'd really like to either get to Nashville or Memphis area for a week.
We've looked at the water park there in Nashville because it looks fun, but it's very expensive.
Everything's expensive.
I can't believe what things cost anymore.
And someone wanted to know if my e-bike is fixable. Well, that e-bike had no damage. Yeah. The only thing with damage was me. But the bike is fine.
In fact, we're very impressed.
It can handle a good crash or two.
The bikes actually have pretty good power. And are pretty responsive. The throttle's a little touchier than I like. And you have to keep that in mind and keep both hands on the handlebars, because it will just take off on you. And you have to be able to, if you lock down both brakes, the front and back brake are both hand grip brakes, then the motor will shut down. So as long as you got that in mind and you got your hands up on the handlebars, you're going to be fine. But if you have one hand like holding a camera and I'm trying to feather that throttle, if it jerks, it'll pull the wheel to one side and you can fall off easily. So that's a challenge. So 2 hands on the handlebar on that bike and you'll be okay. Unless you go backwards. Unless you're rolling backwards.
Georgie says we will be neighbors on the cruise ship.
We will.
So that should be fun. Hey, we'll have good neighbors.
Yeah, yay.
I like good neighbors.
I think there's one cabin between us on the cruise. And then Mike will be across the hall diagonally or across from Georgie. And then his parents will be one cabin closer to us diagonally. So we're all going to be very close.
I find the estate sales on estatesales.net. They have a website and they also have an app for your phone, and you can search different zip codes or a radius of where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually show you pictures of some of the items they'll have. So it's a good way to plan different things. I think it's Logan says my mommy changes the oil in the car. That's good. I used to change the oil too.
She does too. Yeah.
It's a good thing to know. A lot of ladies don't know how to do that, as well as changing your tires and your battery. That's good stuff to know.
And share your story about the one time an ex-boyfriend changed the oil in your car.
That was not an ex-boyfriend.
Oh, who was that?
That was my sister's husband.
I'm sorry, sister's husband.
So he changed the oil on my minivan. I was working for the post office at the time, and I usually always change the oil myself, but I had been working so much. So he said, oh, let me do a favor for you and I'll change the oil for you because it's your only day off. So when he changed the filter, there's a little O-ring gasket type of thing at the top of the filter. Well, the old one stuck up on there. So when he put the new one on there, it had like a double gasket. So the next morning when I was heading to work at roughly 3:34 in the morning, I had an hour and a half drive to work out in the boonies. It was actually from Old Town to Ocala when I was working at the Ocala post office. And I'm driving there at that time in the morning. There's nobody around. And all of a sudden, my van makes all this noise and the oil light comes on. And it was actually in Bronson. I pulled over at a gas station and I had to have my van towed to a dealership and I needed a new engine put in it. So that oil change ended up costing me somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000.
Yep.
So
one gasket. There's a gasket that's on the filter. So when you pull that filter off, it usually spins off. And you got to make sure that filter comes down. Now, had he done it properly, he would have caught himself, because you're supposed to go back up there when you pull the filter down and wipe down that surface. That surface is usually wider than the filter, and you wipe it. I usually use a paper towel, and I wipe that surface. Had he done that, he would have felt that ring, and it would have came off in his hands, and he would have been, oh, man. But
I don't know personally how you could have missed that one.
Yeah, I don't know how you missed that.
It was terrible, and I ended up calling my sister and getting her to come pick me up. I called and got a tow truck and got my vehicle towed to the Chiefland Dodge dealer to put a new engine in there.
What's the question, Heather?
Because I didn't really have time to mess around, and I rented a vehicle on my way to the post office and went to work. But yeah, you got to be careful letting other people do favors for you.
Mary Osborne had a question. Trying to go back and find it.
What part of Ohio? Near Clarington.
It's right on the West Virginia border in the southeast corner. Is that the question?
I'm not sure.
Ah. Yeah, it's always good to have some general mechanics information. I mean, you should know how to change your own oil change.
Ooh, 30 years at the processing plant. Yes, enjoy that retirement. Oh, the post office is a interesting place to work.
Yeah, that's
for sure.
For sure. You should know how to change your oil, change a tire.
Is there a time?
Change your windshield wipers.
Is there a time limit for citizens to speak in the meeting? They usually give 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
I used to give longer depending on what you were talking about. I mean, unless there's a ton of different people asking questions, there's really no reason to cut someone off. But if they were carrying on forever about nothing, you got to cut that short too. But they're supposed to give you at least 3 minutes. But I don't think I ever really cut anybody short, because it's a small town, small meeting. Hardly anybody's making comments anyway. Now, if you're living in a big city, you got to stick to that more closely, because there's a lot of people that want to talk.
So Mary was asking if you ever, we're going to do, have we ever done a meet and greet? She's in Pigeon Forge in October.
Oh.
So Pigeon Forge is still about 3.5 hours from here. We haven't really given any thought to a meet and greet. We've always been kind of advised that you don't want to do that for obvious reasons, but it would be fun to do that. We could.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to think about that.
We'll have to put our heads together on that and see how we could do that safely. We would like to meet some fans, but bad things can happen when you meet strangers, and that's what you are, strangers. I mean, but
I know I'm tree stranger.
Tree stranger.
That's what kind of stranger I am. Yeah. Trees.
Like Georgie, I consider her our internet friend and neighbor, but we've never met yet. I mean, I hope that we get to meet.
I don't know.
We'll definitely meet on the cruise.
She might say, I don't want to meet that chick. She's tree stranger.
She's tree stranger.
Strange. What kind of weirdo is that? She's over there saying.
I don't think it's any different than you go in the store, you buy an item, you go through, you talk to the cashier for a minute. That's a stranger. You know, you may talk to
stranger, danger, stranger.
I mean, you
danger.
talk to strangers all day when you're out and about in
Vegas. Oh, that'd be fun.
You might want to check with Travis, Mayor Dan, and Jeremy as to how they did that in Ohio.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't hear any of the details of that one.
We didn't even know about that one.
Yeah, that was pretty last minute.
Yep.
What else you got? What you doing this week?
You can do a meet and greet on the cruise for sure.
Yeah.
If you're on the cruise, come say hi.
We're going to meet Mike.
We're going to meet Mike. We're going to do yoga.
I can't wait to do some yoga. That's going to be great. I haven't done any in years. I used to go to a weekly yoga class in the park with my friend that I worked with. It was so much fun.
Mike sent us a video, actually. We have to watch it.
Oh.
I started to watch it, and I'm like, well, I'll wait till she's done what she's doing, and we'll watch it later tonight. And we'll watch it on the big screen because we can take our phone and mirror it to the TV, and we can watch it. But it's like a 25-minute cruise on a Carnival cruise line. It's like, I guess it's talking about their cruise experience. And so I thought it might be applicable.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
karaoke on the cruise. Woo! That'll be fun. We haven't karaoke'd in a while.
We are still researching a little bit on where to park and get to the cruise ship and not pay so much to park. I really have a beef with paying for my car to sit there and do nothing. I'd rather be camping. I can camp cheaper.
Granger danger.
But there are places that actually you can pay half the price of what the port's charging.
Yes.
To park, and then they'll shuttle you to the place. So that's an option.
What port is it?
Cape Canaveral.
Yes, Port Canaveral.
Port Canaveral.
I had a total brain fart.
We could also park on the base, but it's 30 minutes away, and then how much would an Uber cost? You got to factor all those things in. So.
Yeah, you don't want to be out there hitchhiking.
I'd really rather almost be hitchhiking.
What?
It's middle of the day you're catching the cruise, and they come back in the middle of the day. So it's not a dangerous time of night or anything. Almost wish I had an electric skateboard. And then you could pack it and take it and go on. The e-bikes won't fit. Or I'd take an e-bike.
Okay.
But we're still researching that. But it's probably going to be a park at a remote site and shuttle type thing is what we're looking at doing.
We'll have to see what everyone else is doing.
Unless somebody in the chat knows an Uber in the Port Canaveral area, then we can make an arrangement of some sort.
Uber. You could do a meet and greet on the way.
Meet and greet on the way?
Yes. Yeah. I'll meet you. You drive me. We talk for half
port
an hour.
Are we leaving from? All we know is Port Canaveral.
Port Canaveral.
They're calling it Port Canaveral, Orlando. And I don't know why it says Orlando. Orlando's a good hour away from Port Canaveral. And I don't think there's a canal that goes all the way over to Orlando. I could be mistaken. I haven't seen one. I don't know why they call it Orlando. It's called Port Canaveral, Orlando in parentheses.
So that you would ask this question.
I do have a question. Why. If you don't know, you don't know.
If you know, you know.
And when I know, I'll know. But right now, I don't know.
Oh, my.
So it's Port Canaveral. It's on the far east coast. Merritt Island. I think it's over there near Merritt. It might actually be on Merritt Island.
It's close.
Yeah.
Maybe you could take a rocket right over there from Patrick.
Any more questions for the public?
Someone wants to know why you would need a permit for electric. It's electric.
You need an electric permit. Usually on new construction of the campground, we had to do 2 different electric. Well, I did one, and then about a year later, I did another one. For an electric pole, because it has to be inspected. They were real easy to get from the county. But Zim wants to make everything difficult. So that's a question for Zim. Why is he making it so difficult? It should be like this. You're basically letting Zim know you're putting in a power pole, not really asking his permission. You don't need his permission. So he's trying to be something he's not. He's being very tyrannical and not helping the residents. He should be guiding them. But Yeah, I think you've always need to have a permit for electric. You can't just start installing a pole and expect the power company. It takes a permit to get them to come out and put it and hook it
Yeah.
up.
And they just want to know that it was done correctly.
Right. It's a safety thing.
Because there's some people that will do some real shady stuff. So I think it's more about just having it done correctly than anything else.
Ketchup asked if we could contact somebody at the base, and I don't know who that would be. Some bases used to have an on-base taxi service. It's about 30 minutes though that you'd have to drive, and might just be cheaper to pay and park at a satellite parking and take the free shuttle. That's kind of the way I'm leaning because at least they got somebody there that's got to be responsible for your vehicle. And on the base, we would just be parking it willy nilly somewhere. I was going to ask the visitor center when you first go through the gate if it could park there for 6 days, but they may say no. But I don't know. So we're still researching. We still got time. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, like when I used to fly out of Orlando, I used to park, I want to say it was for about 15 or 20 a day.
Yeah, the inspector, John, it comes out. When he did ours, I can only speak to the ones that I've done, the two that I've done. Actually, there was a third one for the house, but I didn't actually do that one myself. The two in the park I did myself. They were commercial. And you buy the pole and the box, and at the county they give you a sheet, basically a one-page piece of paper that has a diagram and shows you all the dimensions of where the box has to be. Since it was a campground, there's no relational place it needed to be in regards to the building because you're not servicing a building, you're servicing lots underground. So all you had to do really was the box has to be a certain height, and then when you run your ground wire, you had to have 2 grounding sticks, and there were dimensions or measurements that they had to be from the pole and then to the next one. I think it was 18 inches and then 18 inches. When you're running, all the lots to that box are going to get inspected. They're going to want to know how far down you went, and you have to put sight tubes down. And if they're in conduit, they want to see the conduit. So I used a 4-inch septic pipe and cut it like 2 feet high and put it down to 18 inches. I think it was 18 inches it needed to be, to the top of the conduit so they can see it. So they can just look in the sight tube and go, "Are you good?" And then they just pull the tubes out usually. They end up looking at your box, making sure your grounding stuff is tight, your breakers are tight, and everything's wired correctly. And then all they do is, I mean, it really takes them like 5 minutes. They do all this like really quick. And then they put a sticker on the side of the box and they initial it. And then they have some paperwork they have to close out. And they take it back to their office that says, okay, you can connect them to power. And then they'll do a trouble ticket or a work ticket for the crew to come out and get it hooked up. Usually that's pretty quick. Usually within a day or two, they'll come out and hook it up. Sometimes same day, depending on the timing of everything. That's kind of how it works. It's really easy. I thought it was easy.
It was really easy.
It was the power company is usually great. They want power to get hooked up. That's what
of
they
course,
want. They love
money.
They love
more money.
Yeah, they love campgrounds. So it's like boom, they come out and inspect, usually same day, next day, and then the power gets connected either that day or next day. So within 3 to 4 days, you'll have all of it hooked up.
Yeah, I never had any problems, even when we had to deal with Levy County for any of the permits. Everything was pretty smooth outside of Otter Creek
with
messing around.
With the new house build, and even with it's a pre-built manufactured home. They start the assembly in the plant, but then they bring it out to the site in 2 halves, and then they have to put them together. I forget what they call this, racking. They have to do the racking, which is them putting the 2 halves together, putting it up on blocks, and then they have to put the tie downs because Florida has certain codes for hurricanes. So they got tie down stakes. They have to do all of that. The skirting was actually all part of the job bid. So there was 3 permits, but the same guy, the permit was through the company that sells the home. So they did all the permitting, but they're going to have 3. They have 1 for the house itself, 1 for the power pole, 1 for the septic. And I believe the septic goes in first. And then those two halves sat on the property for a couple of weeks before they actually put them into place because the septic had to go first. And then they used my old power pole, and my meter box was all fine. They just put in a new meter. So you start over, and all the wiring went underground into the mobile home or the manufacturer's home, and then went up into the panel box in the center. And then it all gets stamped and it gets initialed and signed and all that. And you get copies of permits of everything they did. And so when we sold the campground, all those permits I passed right to Rex. Rex has all of them. He has little folders for everything. He has ones for the park, ones for the house, ones for septic, ones for electric, ones for the county. He has everything that he needs. So if anybody ever comes back on him and tries to say, "Oh, you didn't permit this," well, quite contraire, I got the permit right here. So that's why you get a permit. It's not always a bad thing to get a permit. It protects you from people coming back on you saying, "You never got that permitted. Now you got to take it down, or you got to get a permit." Alleviates all that. Once you get a permit, that means the agency has endorsed it, and there's nothing they can do to take it away from you. No other agency can come back and take it away from you. It's yours. Grandfathered. Now, new rules after that, new ball game.
So someone want to know, Ron had power though. Why would they turn it off? Well, if I remember correctly, a tree came down after, I don't know if it was Hurricane Milton or what, but he had a very large tree come down, and I believe it damaged the weatherhead. So a repair needed to be done.
If it landed on the wiring and the wires got pulled, it probably pulled the wires off the house and broke that weatherhead. Most of them are plastic. Some of them are metal, but it's aluminum. It's a very lightweight metal. They're easy to break, but they don't cost that much. Maybe $10 you get a new one, but you have to get a disconnect if they're not fully disconnected. You have to get a disconnect from the power company. You call them, say, "Hey, I need a disconnect." That's free. They'll come disconnect it. Now, to reconnect, there might be a fee. So they'll come disconnect it. You do your fix. They come and they'll do a reconnect. There's really nothing to inspect for them because it's the same 3 wires pulled apart. Now you're putting them back together. They're putting them together. You're not doing it.
I honestly don't know why it has become such a big deal.
I don't understand it either. Now, I also don't understand why it took so long for Ron to address
that
power
part,
back to
I
the
don't
house.
really know all the ins and outs
Yeah,
of
we
that
don't
part.
know.
And I had heard that he worked 2 jobs and, whatever the case may be. I mean, that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how long it took.
Okay.
He has it fixed. He's ready for his electric. What's the problem?
Yeah.
I mean, personally, if I was the mayor, I would have drove down to the electric company if there was such a problem. If I couldn't get things done over the phone and get that turned on, I would have drove down there. Why wouldn't you?
I don't think there's a box in question that needs to be re-inspected. I think it's just simply wire disconnect, wire reconnect. There's only 3 to a house. You have a ground wire that's usually a striped wire, it's your ground wire, and that one's your center one. And then you have 2 hot leads. That's it. And it doesn't matter which way they go. You get the ground right, you got to get that right. And then the other 2 go on the other hot grounds. 2 hot leads. And that's all there is to a house, to a normal sized house. It's probably a 100 amp or 200 amp box. Usually a smaller home can be 100 amps, like a shop or something like that. Usually a house is a 200 amp box. And so those wires have to be a certain gauge to handle the 200 amps.
Patrick Air Force Base is near the port, about half an hour away. Gail was saying that she had flown into Melbourne and paid $25 to take a shuttle.
Oh.
So you should check into that to see if you can get something from the base. So we'll definitely have to make some calls and check into that. And what does your shirt say?
Oh.
I'm sorry for what I said while we were trying to park the camper. Oh.
It's a camper joke.
Yes, because usually
it's hard to back in.
If you had ever watched a husband and wife while they're trying to back the camper in, they're usually griping at each other.
I'm sorry for what I said.
So I know when we were moving campers all the time, because the truck was a diesel truck, which was very loud. And Brett can't hear anyway. So trying to communicate, that's true.
I didn't say anything.
Trying to communicate was a little hard. So I would say, I'm just going to call you and put our phones on speakerphone. That way I can just tell you, because there were some places where we were pulling the trailers out of that were very tight and there was trees everywhere. So you could describe it and get stuff turned on a dime. So that's what we did. We used to just call each other on speakerphone.
At the Redstone Arsenal, though, it was pretty nice. All the slots are pull-through slots, every one of them that we saw were pull-through slots. So, and it was a concrete pad. That was nice. The roads were gravel, but the pads were concrete. But they were nice.
Yeah.
For $25, it was a great deal.
Yeah, but they do need to do more maintenance. When it rained, the pad got very slippery.
Yeah, I fell.
Yeah, Brett fell coming out of the...
You can still see it right
RV. I almost fell getting into the RV when we were leaving because it was like slick muck.
I slipped coming out and I stayed down for a minute. A guy like 6 campers down goes, "Are you okay? You hit pretty hard." I was like, "Yeah," and I didn't bounce back up either.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you get older, you don't really bounce back. I know when I fell on the bike, I couldn't even get back up. It was like, oh, this would be a great video.
Yeah.
Teresa's swimming in the poison ivy.
All in all, it was a good trip.
I was just glad I didn't break anything.
Yeah.
So you got to count your blessings. Right. I do have some big knot bruises and a heck of a poison ivy rash, but it's better than what it could have been. And that's what you got to focus on, the goods.
Heather May asks, if you were to leave your camper at the RV at the base, would it be approved with prior approval, or do you have to be there in person with your vehicle? I guess it depends on if you're parking it there in a campground or long-term stay, because they do have long-term storage there. And I don't know that I'd be entitled to that or not. We would just be we are staying there, but we're staying there in December. So we will have left there. We'll be back.
Yeah, we won't be there with our camper. We'll just have the Jeep with us because we're going to leave the camper in Chiefland. The
camper is going to stay in Chiefland at my mom's house, and we'll drive the Jeep to the port. So it's just the Jeep that we're trying to park somewhere. So I think it wouldn't be hard to just leave the Jeep parked somewhere on the base.
Oh, that'd be super easy. There's usually all kinds of places to park on the base.
Inconspicuous areas you could park it. And
there's lots of places to park on the base.
Yeah. We just can't be taking up somebody's VIP parking, which we wouldn't be trying to do that.
No, you get yourself in some big trouble doing that.
I think a good place to leave it would be at the on-pace hotel, because you're expecting cars to be parked there all night. So the hotel would be a good place to leave.
That's so true, Star Chasers.
And maybe at the hotel,
so true.
That would be a place to call, because people may stay there and go on a cruise, and they may have something.
Oh no, there's a lot of hotels now that charge you for parking.
Yeah.
Just while you're staying there. Look at in Savannah. I forget what they were paying. $25 or $30 a day to park
$35 a day
in the hotel that you're staying at. There's some cities that charge even more. It's a racket.
Yeah.
Yes, Amy, I saw that message.
Yep, we got it. Anything else?
I should take a picture of it, though. It might be hard to find again later.
My dad is retired Air Force. My son's first time on a plane.
Let me see.
Let him fly for a bit. Yeah, he'll be all right. Planes are still the safest conveyance. You hear about plane accidents because it's hard to survive those, but you don't hear as many about automobile accidents because there's so many. But people die more from auto accidents than they do airplane accidents. There's not many things in the air to hit. You can hit other planes, I guess.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's risky business, whether you're flying, driving, you just never know. I mean, there's a ton of accidents lately on the highways with semis.
Do we have any pets? Currently, no.
I have a pet rock.
She has a pet rock.
It's got googly eyes.
That's a pet rock up there, too. Somewhere up there, right there.
Is that a pet rock?
It could be.
That's a big pet rock if that is. I don't see any googly eyes on that.
He doesn't eat much though.
I'll be flying when I go to Ohio. That ticket was so cheap. I wanted to drive, but the ticket was so cheap it almost seemed silly to drive. Yeah. So
it's a lot of risk in driving that far on those roads. It's a lot of windy, curvy roads. It's mostly mountainous type roads, and it would be like a 9-hour drive.
So, yeah, it would be fun.
Fun, yes.
It would be a lot of fun, but
I would worry the whole time.
Flying is only, I don't know, it probably will take between 6 and 7 hours with driving to the airport, waiting at the airport, and all that type of stuff.
That's door to door.
So,
because we're an hour and a half from the airport.
I forget what I even paid for that ticket. It was under $100 round trip. So
you can't beat that.
You really can't beat that.
No.
So
you use more gas than that.
That is coming up in a week and a half. Yep. Before you know it, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I got to pack. I know it'll be the night before I'm going, and I'll probably still haven't packed yet. But I don't have to pack much because I'm going to wear all my sister's clothes.
Hope they're clean.
Of course they'll be clean.
You going to poison Ivy up her clothes?
No, they'll be clean. She's a good hostess. She always has all kinds of stuff for me.
Well, guys, I think that'll wrap it up. We went pretty long today. Can you believe we're on here for an hour and a half?
Oh, man. I guess you had a lot to say.
I didn't think it was that much. But we did hit all our points. And yeah, that's it. So we want to thank you guys for joining us. And we want to thank all our moderators, our great moderators, and our followers. We appreciate you guys.
Oh, you didn't even show my eBay stuff that I got.
Oh, well, you can real quick.
I don't know.
Real quick. A few eBay items will be up on the eBay store soon. Coming to an eBay store near you.
I got some clothes to put up too.
Oh.
Got this cute little Izod skort.
Skort?
I got 2 of them.
I'll show them. Keep going.
Cute one too.
Yep.
Just some of the things I found while we were estate sale shopping.
And they look brand new. This one even has a logo on it.
Yeah. Well, most of the time you'll find that people either it still has tags on it.
Yeah, it's a lizard logo.
Or they've taken off the tags and never use it. That's a Saks Fifth Avenue makeup bag. Has lots of little compartments for traveling. And this cute little milk glass coffee cup. And this is a dress. It's a Calvin Klein colorful dress. Let's see if you could see the whole thing. It's kind of hard to show in the pictures. But this dress, when I saw it, reminded me of Jessica. I said, I need to get this dress. It just reminds me of my bestie.
It's a good cruise dress. Then you could raffle it off afterwards. Right?
I don't know. I'm still thinking if I want to keep that one or not. It might be a good cruise dress since I'm having issues finding dresses.
And it's hard to find Washington Redskins stuff anymore.
Yeah, so I found that. So I'll put these up on our eBay store this week.
So if this doesn't sell, that's fine. I'll keep it. I'm a Redskins fan, although it's a Commanders. They're always Redskins to me. John Riggins, Joe Theismann.
Brett loves them.
Well, I grew up liking them. I don't follow them as much anymore, but I still keep tabs on them, I guess.
I grew up following the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins.
So that's it. Once again, we'll try and say goodbye again. Enjoyed having you here.
I'll try not to pop up with any more things that I forgot about. Thank you so much to our members.
Yep.
I know we had, I don't even know what we did with we went on a bike ride in the rain.
It was a bike ride in the rain on that bike path. So members got to see the bike path.
Thank you so much to all the moderators for being on here and helping us keep everything positive, uplifting, and of course, putting all our links on there. You guys do a great job. Thank you so much to all our subscribers. Don't forget, it's free to subscribe. Just remember when you hit the button to put notifications all so you get notified of when the videos come out.
Yep.
And thank you so much again to the members. Mm-hmm. Thank you for everyone for being on here and spending time with us. We love you guys. hope you enjoy tomorrow's video.
Yep.
That will be us at Redstone Arsenal Thrift Store. And I hope you guys just have a good evening and a good week. Take care of each other and do some extra something wherever you're at to make it a better place. And smile at people.
And put those carts back in the carousel.
That's right. And everybody say bye, Logan.
Bye, Logan.
Love you all. Take care of each other.
Bye, guys.
Talk to y'all soon.